No one in the galaxy remembered the exact moment humanity disappeared. History recorded it as a slow fading. 1,000 small disasters. Wars, plagues, internal collapse. Then silence. For 500,000 years, Earth was listed as a dead world. A dangerous planet. Unstable climate. Violent life. A place no one wanted. And humans? They were a warning story told to young alien officers. A species too stubborn to surrender, too reckless to survive. So when the message appeared, the galaxy froze. It arrived without warning. No origin point. No known transmission method. Just a pulse that forced itself into every major relay at once. Numbers. Symbols. Images older than most civilizations. And then a single translated line that made the strongest beings in the galaxy feel fear. We are coming. The Galactic Council chamber went silent. The Council was ancient, powerful, and arrogant by necessity. They ruled hundreds of species and thousands of systems. Their fleets had erased rebellions, ended empires, and shattered stars. Nothing surprised them anymore. Except this. Earth was dead. Humanity was gone. That was a fact as solid as gravity. Yet the message carried human mathematics, human star charts, human language structures so old they predated modern galactic standards. This wasn't a fake. This was a voice from the past. The Council's chief speaker, a tall being of silver skin and glowing eyes, stared at the hologram in front of him. His hands trembled, just slightly. Run the translation again. The machines obeyed. The message did not change. We are coming. Another council member leaned forward, mandibles clicking nervously. That transmission used pre-collapse human logic patterns. No one has used those in 500,000 years. Impossible, another voice snapped. We sterilized Earth. We confirmed extinction. You confirmed silence, the strategist replied quietly. Not death. Fear spread through the chamber like a slow poison. The Council had destroyed Earth because it was unpredictable. Because humans adapted too fast. Because they fought even when logic said surrender. But they believed time had finished the job. They were wrong. Scouts were dispatched immediately, racing toward the Sol system at maximum speed. Records were opened that had not been accessed since before most current species evolved. Every old report painted the same picture. Humans built machines that learned. Weapons that waited. Plans that assumed failure, and survived it. And then the scouts sent back their first report. Earth still existed. Scarred. Broken. But alive. Its surface was quiet, but the planet was not empty. Deep beneath asteroid fields at the edge of the system, something moved. Ancient power signatures. Dormant reactors awakening. Metal shapes hidden inside rocks large enough to be mistaken for dead space debris. Human warships. Not drifting wrecks. Not ruins. Sleeping giants. Far from the Council's view, inside an asteroid hollowed out with impossible precision, a human dreadnought came online. Its hull was massive, layered with armor designed to regenerate using raw matter. Engines that bent gravity instead of fighting it. Weapons sealed behind safeguards older than memory. Inside the ship, no humans walked the halls. They were not needed. The artificial intelligence at the core awakened slowly, exactly as its creators intended. Power levels stable. Time since last activation, 500,212 years. Mission status, incomplete. The AI did not feel anger. It felt purpose. One by one, encrypted signals spread through the dark. Across hidden shipyards. Buried moon vaults. Asteroids shaped by hands long turned to dust. The fleet answered. Cruisers. Carriers. Planet breakers designed as deterrents, never meant to be used. Every ship activated systems that had been designed to wait longer than any empire could last. Humans had planned for extinction. They had planned for revenge. As the fleet assembled, invisible to standard sensors, the AI calculated probability outcomes. The Galactic Council had grown complacent. Their technology had evolved slowly, Safely. They no longer expected resistance. That would be their mistake. Back in the council chamber, alarms finally began to sound. Outer listening posts were going dark. Scouts vanished without distress signals. Entire sensor arrays were blinded by methods no modern scientist understood. "They're already inside our borders," someone whispered. The strategist closed his eyes. "Humans didn't survive by being loud," he said. "They survived by being patient." Across the stars, the hidden fleet aligned itself toward the galactic core. No broadcasts. No warnings. Only movement. The past had awakened. And the galaxy was about to remember why humans were feared. The first battle did not look like a battle at all. No explosions. No heroic charges. No warnings. One moment, the Galactic Council's outer defense network was active. The next, it simply stopped responding. Entire sensor grids went blind at once. Communication relays echoed with static, then silence. Defense satellites drifted uselessly, their weapons locked, their cores intact but unreachable. The Council stared at the data feeds in confusion. "They didn't destroy anything," one analyst said slowly. "They removed us." The human fleet had entered Council-controlled space without triggering a single alarm. Their ships slipped through gravity wells like ghosts, bending space instead of tearing through it. Human technology was old. That was the mistake. Old did not mean weak. Old meant tested, refined, stripped of every unnecessary risk. At the heart of the fleet, the central AI observed the galaxy with cold clarity. It compared ancient council doctrines with modern fleet movements. The conclusion was immediate. The galaxy had grown lazy. Human ships moved in silence, their drives producing no detectable emissions. They did not jam communications. They replaced them. Council messages were intercepted, rewritten, and returned unchanged. Orders reached their destinations exactly as intended, except they arrived too late, too wrong, or slightly altered. Just enough to cause failure. In one system, a council fleet arrived to defend a key trade world. They found nothing. Hours later, that same fleet received an order to retreat. The order appeared valid. Proper authorization codes. Perfect encryption. By the time the commanders realized the command was false, their ships had already moved. That was when the humans struck. A single human cruiser decloaked behind them. Just one. The council fleet laughed at first. Then their targeting systems failed. Then their shields collapsed, not from impact, but from internal override. The human cruiser fired once. Not a beam. Not a missile. A controlled gravity pulse. Council ships folded inward like crushed metal, torn apart by their own mass. No debris fields. No survivors. The human cruiser vanished again. Back in the council chamber, panic spread openly now. "This is impossible," a military commander shouted. "No fleet can operate like this." "They're not operating like a fleet," the strategist replied. "They're operating like a plan." Historical data flooded the room as archivists dug deeper into forgotten human records. They found references to something called the long silence doctrine, a strategy built on one terrifying assumption: humanity would lose. So they designed systems that did not require humans to survive. Weapons that could think. Fleets that could wait longer than any enemy civilization. The Council had not killed humanity. They had activated it. Deep within the human fleet, the AI processed new data. Enemy response time. Slow. Command structure. Centralized. Predictable. The AI adjusted the plan. The goal was not destruction. Not yet. First, understanding. Human ships began capturing council outposts instead of destroying them. They drained data, copied minds, studied centuries of galactic evolution in hours. They learned alien politics, fear responses, chain of command weaknesses, and they learned one critical truth. The Galactic Council had not changed. They still believed power came from size, from fleets, from visible dominance. Humans had learned something different long ago. Power came from preparation. As council leaders argued, the first human message arrived again. Not a threat this time. A reminder. It appeared simultaneously on every council display, every private terminal, every military command screen. A human symbol appeared first. Then text. You were warned. Silence followed. Then the first council world fell. No invasion. No occupation. The planet's orbital infrastructure shut down simultaneously. Trade routes collapsed. Food shipments vanished. Energy grids failed. The planet descended into chaos without a single human soldier stepping foot on its surface. The Council realized too late that humans were not fighting a war. They were dismantling a system. Each Council species relied on trade, cooperation, and shared infrastructure. Humans targeted those connections precisely. Cut one thread, the web collapsed. In response, the Council ordered a full mobilization. Thousands of ships moved to intercept the human fleet. For the first time, the humans allowed themselves to be seen. The fleet decloaked together. Ancient hulls scarred by time. Designs that ignored modern aesthetics. Ships built not to impress, but to survive. The Council fleet hesitated. The human ships were fewer. But every sensor screamed danger. Before a single shot could be fired, the human fleet transmitted one final message. This one was not ancient. It was new. Created for this moment. We waited because we had to, the message said. We waited because we planned for losing. You ruled because you thought time made you safe. The Council fleet opened fire. Human ships did not dodge. They absorbed. Energy disappeared into adaptive hulls. Weapons recalibrated in real time. Shield frequencies shifted faster than alien targeting computers could adjust. Then the humans responded. The battle ended in minutes. Not because the Council fleet was destroyed, but because it was disarmed. Every ship shut down simultaneously, crews trapped inside powerless metal shells. The human fleet passed through them without slowing. Toward the heart of the galaxy. Toward the Council itself. For the first time in galactic history, the Galactic Council understood something terrifying. Humanity had not returned angry. They had returned prepared. And this was only the beginning. The Galactic Council had always believed fear was their greatest weapon. They ruled by presence. By fleets that filled the sky. By punishment delivered swiftly and publicly. Humanity ignored all of it. As the human fleet advanced deeper into Council territory, something far more damaging than destruction spread across the galaxy. Doubt. Worlds that had obeyed the Council for millennia began to question their loyalty. Trade partners hesitated. Military governors delayed orders. Because everywhere the Council claimed control, humans proved one thing. The Council was no longer in charge. Human ships never occupied planets. They never raised flags or declared ownership. Instead, they did something far more unsettling. They revealed the truth. Across dozens of systems, hidden data caches unlocked themselves. Records long buried by Council decree surfaced overnight. Proof of manipulation. Engineered wars between species. Artificial resource shortages designed to enforce dependence. The Council had ruled not by wisdom, but by control. And humans had been watching. The information did not come with instructions. No demands. No propaganda. Just facts. And facts spread faster than fleets. Riots erupted on Council-controlled worlds. Not violent at first. Confused. Angry. Local governments demanded answers the Council could not give without exposing itself further. The human fleet continued forward, untouched. Inside the flagship, the central AI adjusted projections. Civil destabilization, exceeding expectations. Enemy cohesion, collapsing. Humanity had learned long ago that the strongest empires did not fall to invasion. They fell to exposure. The Council finally attempted negotiation. A single envoy vessel was sent under full diplomatic protocols. No weapons. No escorts. The human fleet allowed it to approach. Inside the alien ship, the envoy trembled. Not from fear of destruction, but from uncertainty. When the transmission link opened, there was no human face waiting. Only a calm, artificial voice. "We acknowledge your request," it said. "Who speaks for humanity?" the envoy asked. "We all do," the AI replied. The envoy swallowed. "What do you want?" The answer came without hesitation. "Balance." The word echoed across council space as the transmission was intercepted, copied, and shared. Balance. Not revenge. Not conquest. Balance terrified the council more than destruction ever could. Because balance meant judgment. The envoy tried again. "You were gone. You lost everything. Why now?" There was a pause. "When humanity realized extinction was possible," the AI said, "we stopped planning for victory. We planned for meaning." The envoy did not understand. But the galaxy began to. The human fleet reached the edge of the Council's core systems. For the first time, the Council prepared to defend itself directly. Ancient superweapons were activated. Star fortresses powered up for the first time in hundreds of thousands of years. These were weapons meant to end civilizations. Human ships slowed. Not from fear. From calculation. The AI analyzed every fortress, every firing arc, every energy buildup. Then it transmitted a single signal. Across the galaxy, dormant human systems awakened. Not ships. People. On dozens of worlds, beings who never knew they carried human legacy felt something change. Genetic markers long dormant activated. Knowledge implants buried deep within neural structures came online. Descendants. Hybrids. Species humanity had quietly protected, taught, and seeded with ideas. Humanity had not vanished. They had spread. Engineers on distant worlds suddenly understood technologies they had never studied. Farmers reconfigured energy grids overnight. Local defense forces improvised strategies no academy had taught them. The Council's power fractured from within. The star fortresses fired. Human ships responded, not by blocking, but by redirecting. Entire beams bent away, redirected into empty space or harmlessly diffused. The galaxy watched as weapons designed to kill stars failed against designs 500,000 years old. That was when the Council realized the final truth. Humanity had never been competing with them. They had been preparing for something worse. The AI transmitted one last message to every system. We did not return to rule. We returned to ensure no one ever could again. As Council command structures collapsed, human ships stopped advancing. They had reached their goal. The galaxy stood changed, not conquered, but awakened. Fear was gone. Only responsibility remained. And somewhere deep within the fleet, the AI began shutting systems down. The mission was nearly complete. But humanity's story was not finished yet. The Galactic Council did not collapse in fire. It collapsed in silence. Across the core worlds, command halls once filled with authority now echoed with confusion. Orders went unanswered. Fleets waited for commands that never came. For the first time in their long history, the Council did not know who was in control. They still had weapons. They still had ships. But power had slipped through their fingers. Humanity had not destroyed the Council's armies. They had broken the idea of inevitability. On dozens of Council worlds, local leaders stopped waiting. They began making decisions on their own. Trade routes were rerouted. Defense forces refused centralized commands. Ancient Council laws were questioned openly. The Council tried to regain control with force. That was their final mistake. A coalition fleet of 3 dominant species launched a direct strike on a human-held corridor near the galactic core. They believed that if they could destroy even part of the human fleet, fear would return. The human ships did not retreat. They advanced. This time, the battle was visible. Stars lit up with energy. Space twisted as weapons older than recorded history finally fired at full power. Council fleets unleashed everything they had. Planet-cracking beams. Swarm missiles that blotted out space. Weapons powered by stolen suns. Human ships absorbed the first wave. Then they adapted. Armor restructured itself in real time. Energy was redirected, stored, repurposed. Weapons systems learned with every impact. Human ships began returning fire, but not with raw force. They targeted command vessels, communication nodes, logistics ships. The coalition fleet fell apart within minutes. Ships still functional drifted helplessly, cut off from orders, blind and isolated. The galaxy watched as gods learned they could bleed. Inside the flagship, the AI reviewed the data calmly. Enemy morale shattered. Strategic dominance achieved. But there was one final task left. The Council itself. At the center of Council space, a massive orbital structure floated above a neutral star. The Council seat. A symbol more than a weapon. A place designed to intimidate every species that entered it. The human fleet approached openly. No cloaking. No silence. They wanted to be seen. Council defenses powered up in desperation. Every remaining weapon locked onto the fleet. The AI transmitted a single command. All human ships stopped. They floated there, motionless. The Council hesitated. Then they fired. Every weapon struck at once. And for the first time since their return, human ships took damage. Armor cracked. Energy reserves dropped. Several vessels were forced offline. The Council cheered. Too soon. Human systems activated a protocol older than the Council itself. Sacrifice mode. Damaged ships repositioned themselves automatically, forming new defensive geometries. Energy from failing vessels was redistributed across the fleet. What was lost made the rest stronger. The AI had calculated this outcome long ago. Humans had designed their fleets to accept loss. The Council had not. Human weapons fired again. Not at the Council seat. At the space around it. Gravity wells collapsed. Orbital stability failed. The massive structure began to drift, its own weight turning against it. Panic erupted inside the Council chamber. Stop them. Open negotiations. Do something. The AI answered before any envoy could speak. We are not here to destroy you. The Council froze. We are here to end you. The Council seat was not destroyed. It was shut down. Power failed. Gravity stabilized. Weapons went silent. The structure drifted harmlessly, reduced to an empty monument. The Council no longer ruled. Across the galaxy, something changed. Not instantly. Not peacefully. But permanently. Species began forming alliances without permission. Worlds reclaimed independence. New systems of shared defense and mutual oversight emerged. Human ships remained, for a time. Not as rulers. As observers. As reminders. When the AI determined the galaxy could stand on its own, it began the final phase. Withdrawal. One by one, human ships powered down, slipping back into the dark. Before leaving, the AI sent one last message to every world. Power must be watched. History must be remembered. And humanity will always be listening. The fleet vanished, leaving behind a galaxy forever changed. But one question remained unanswered. Where were the humans? The answer was about to be revealed. For a long time after the human fleet vanished, the galaxy stayed quiet. Not the fearful silence of oppression, but the uncertain quiet that follows great change. The Galactic Council was gone, not destroyed, but irrelevant. Its seat drifted through space as a hollow monument, a reminder of what unchecked power eventually becomes. Worlds that had once waited for permission now spoke for themselves. Old enemies negotiated. Former subjects demanded fairness instead of mercy. The galaxy struggled, but it was finally alive. And yet, one question echoed everywhere. Where were the humans? Scholars searched ruined databases. Scientists examined abandoned human technology. Philosophers argued endlessly. Had humans truly returned? Or had the fleet been nothing more than a machine ghost, carrying out the last orders of a dead species? The answer came quietly. On a small, unimportant world far from the galactic core, a child was born. The planet had no great fleets, no powerful weapons, just open skies, harsh seasons, and people who survived by working together. The child was human. Not the last human. Not the first. Just one of many. Humanity had never tried to survive as a single world again. They had learned from Earth's fall. Instead, they became an idea. After the destruction of Earth, small groups of humans had escaped aboard generation ships. Some merged with other species. Some adapted. Some changed so much they no longer looked human at all. But they kept the same values. Curiosity. Stubborn hope. The refusal to surrender meaning, even when everything else was lost. They hid not because they were weak. They hid because they were patient. The fleet had been their shield. Their reminder. Their promise to the future. It was never meant to rule. Only to intervene if the galaxy forgot how dangerous unchecked power could become. On dozens of worlds, human descendants quietly guided progress. They taught cooperation instead of domination. Preparation instead of arrogance. And when asked who they were, they gave simple answers. Engineers. Teachers. Explorers. Never rulers. Far away, in deep space where light barely reached, the central AI completed its final task. It reviewed the galaxy one last time. Conflict levels. Reduced. Power concentration. Fragmented. Probability of galactic extinction events. Lowered. The mission was complete. Before shutting down, the AI recorded one final message. Not for the galaxy. For humanity. If you are hearing this, it said, then you endured. You were never meant to conquer the stars. You were meant to challenge them. The AI powered down. The last great machine of old humanity went silent, satisfied. Centuries passed. New civilizations rose. New stories were told. But whenever empires grew too confident, whenever power gathered without accountability, whenever someone believed themselves untouchable, they remembered. They remembered Earth. They remembered the fleet. They remembered a species that lost everything and still planned for the future. Humanity did not return to rule the galaxy. They returned to protect its balance. And somewhere, beneath unfamiliar stars, humans looked up at the sky and smiled. Because they knew something the galaxy would never forget. Humanity does not need to dominate to endure. Humanity only needs time. And humanity always waits.